Mr. Chair, I move that the question be now put.
Mr. Chair. I'd like to hear Dr. Megan Woods.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to back up what many of my colleagues have said in the House tonight on this bill, that Labor is supporting this bill because we think that the changes will make the repayments of student loans fairer. But I'd like to also underscore the point that my colleagues have made, that this is a bill that doesn't do very much. It tinkers around the edges and it doesn't address the fundamental problems that the student loan scheme is meant to do. The student loan scheme is about access to education. When we put allowances and loans together, it's about how it is that ordinary New Zealanders access tertiary education in this country. And what we have is a government that is really moving the balance between loans and allowances and shifting this. We've seen an attack on both of these by the present government. We've seen that postgraduate students are being denied access to student loans, and we've heard members opposite during their call tonight, I believe it was Mr Goldsmith, say that what National are doing is they're limiting it to 7 years of study. Well, this isn't the full story, because it's not just about limiting the student loan access to 7 years. The changes that National brought in their last budget explicitly excluded postgraduate study, Masters and PhD. So any postgraduate study beyond the bachelor's with honours level has been explicitly excluded. And this is a very worrying trend in our education system in this country. And it's yet another example how this is a government that talks big on the rhetoric of innovation. It talks big on the need for us to have an innovation-led economy. Well, these things don't happen by magic. They require really skilled New Zealanders and really educated New Zealanders in there. And limiting the access of people to do postgraduate research is just counter to this. We have, this pretty much sums it up. We have Mr Goldsmith over the opposite way, calling this a waste of money. This is the difference between Labor and National. Labor believes that postgraduate education is to the betterment of New Zealand, that this is the way that we will get ahead. This is the kind of thing that this bill does nothing to address. Postgraduate education, my colleague David Cunliffe is quite right, is an investment. It is an investment in our country and it is an investment in our future. So what we've also seen is a tightening up of access to loans for various people by this government over the last 4 years. We have those over 55 now being denied access to the student loan scheme. This is something that we view with a great deal of concern. We put this in the context of the economy that we're currently living, and we see that there are a number of people that are losing their jobs and still have a number of years in which they need to earn an income. And actually, some retraining would be the best way for them to go about this. So we don't think it's particularly fair what this government has done in terms of limiting access to this. And one of the other things in terms of the access, and we have to remember that when Stephen Joyce did take the reins as Minister of Tertiary Education 2 years ago, it was made very apparent that National was going to introduce a series of cuts to student support, both in the area of loans and allowances, in an effort to do what they call was dampen demand for tertiary education. So we see part-time students can no longer borrow from the student loan for course-related costs in Budget 2010. This has real ramifications. My colleague, Dr David Clark, talked about being a warden at Otago University and seeing the change from when he was a student to the students that he had responsibility for caring for in that environment. And I also observed that change in my time from being a student to teaching at the University of Canterbury. It wasn't unusual by the time that I finished teaching at Canterbury for students to be working 30 hours a week as undergraduate students. This is simply not the way that you get a university education. Universities education are about immersion and learning, and they're about being able to devote yourself full time to that and to have the time and the energy and the focus to devote yourself to that. So what we're seeing this government introduce in terms of access arrangements is really damaging to the experience and the benefit that students can get from the scheme. And I guess there's a number and a growing number of us now in this Parliament that stand here with student loans not just being a theoretical issue. Mr Chairman?
Maggie Barry.
Mr Chairman.
The question is that the question be now put. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. Ayes have it. Point of order. Sorry. Yeah, I've called the vote, and we'll have a party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
4 votes against.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
2 in favour.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 in favour.
Any other votes?
The ayes are 71, the noes are 49. The question will now be put. We'll deal firstly with the Minister's amendment set out on SOP number 185. Question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
2 in favour.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 in favour.
Any other votes?
So the ayes are 105, the noes are 15. The Minister's amendments are agreed to. Tracy Martin has an amendment to replace clause 10 set out on SOP number 184. The question is the amendment be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. No. The noes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 in favour.
Act New Zealand.
1 opposed.
United Future.
1 opposed.
Brendan Horan.
1 in favour.
Any other votes?
The ayes are 57, the noes are 63. The amendment is not agreed to. The question now is that Part 1, as amended, stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
2 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 in favour.
Any other votes?
Ayes are 105, noes are 15. Part 1 as amended will stand part. The question is now, point of order on Trevor Mello.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to draw to your attention a matter which relates to the judgment as to whether or not a closure should be taken. That I know that it is a matter entirely in your discretion, but I would want to point out that this is actually a significant piece of legislation, that part 1 was a very big part, and we had less than an hour's debate on it. And I just want to say to you, Mr. Chairman, that it's the view of opposition members, a number of whom, including the Deputy Leader, have just come down to speak on it, that we were very much shortchanged.
Look, I note the members' comments, and I don't think that I could be accused generally of curtailing speech and of speaking in the House. I acknowledge I am. And at that time I took the closure, every single person who was seeking a call had spoken. Every single person had. And I measure very carefully what's been said. I think the member knows that I'm on the case. Right, okay. So the question now is that part 2 stand part. Yeah. David Clark.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, part 2